last night, one of the biggest debates of all time happened in the United States, guys. You could call it a mass debate. We have presidential debate, of course, J.D. Vance versus Tim Walz, okay, and they talked about things such as the vision for the future of America, and a civilized vice president debate that was last night was the talk of the town, guys. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. We have another video to react to after this. This is just 5 key moments, and then there's going to be an immigration talk after, because America kind of is that kind of purest form of immigration. You know, people don't go there because the EU pays them to bring them to your country, like in Ireland. Okay, the EU pays the government to bring people to the country of Ireland. In America, people go there for prosperity, you know, that sort of dream, that sort of hope that they can achieve a good business and change their life and earn lots of money. So this one should be incredible. Like I said, drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. And let's get it, guys. This one should be incredible. I haven't even watched it yet, so.
And that's why Donald Trump and I are committed to pursuing pro-family policies, making childcare more accessible.
Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this. And he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it.
You've got schools that
are... in regards to the wall, he built most of the wall. I think he said if he gets back into power, he's going to finish off that wall, because the first day that Joe Biden got into power, he actually just stopped the wall production. So, you know, a bit of a waste, right?
Overwhelmed. You've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You've got housing that is totally unaffordable.
Have so much to get to, Senator.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The CBP app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
The idea that we can magically wave a wand and take guns out of the hands of bad guys, it just doesn't fit with recent experience.
Well, I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things.
Jeez. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the U.S. has guns. Are just ubiquitous, guys. Like every single person has a gun. I think someone said before there was 350 million guns in America. So when I ever hear like some president talking about they're gonna stop gun production or stop this, it's impossible, guys. So I just don't even, you know, listen to that. It's just such nonsense, guys. Just, you know, arm yourself and make sure you can protect yourself with one. That's what I would say. Unfortunately, his son had to witness a shooting, which is terrible. But hey, that's the country you live in. So
all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you.
First of all, I didn't know that your 17-year-old witnessed a shooting. I'm sorry about that, and I hope that he's doing okay. So. Christ have mercy.
This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
You said
so yeah, like people say that Donald Trump didn't lose the election, that it was rigged, and they were like had lots of fake votes. And I actually talked to an American. He came over here. His name is John. Much love to John. He's like Irish or whatever, but he came over. He lives in Maine or something like that. But he came over for a few weeks, and he was telling me about it, like, you know, like people would basically, you know, from these random states will all of a sudden get 200,000 votes for Joe Biden. It just seemed a bit dodgy. Like definitely having online, you know, sort of presidential, you know, elections isn't good, guys. No, like you have to physically go to the place, go to the sign-in office to cast your vote. You know, you shouldn't be able to cast a vote from like behind the laptop, because that'll bring in a whole bunch of bots and trolls, and not really, you know, that's, you know, people don't want that, guys. You should have to go to an actual, you know, voting center for that. So, because getting 200,000 votes from some random state in the middle of nowhere, it just seems very illegitimate, okay? Whether it was or not, it just seems very, like, farcical, you know?
you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year.
Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. and I'm a knucklehead at times.
Question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this is I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance. This issue.
So he insulted China. He was in a sort of, what did they say? He was in a sort of crazy riot or something in China at the time. A democratic thing. That's crazy. What the hell?
What needed to be in governance. This issue is what's on everyone's mind. Donald Trump put this all into motion. He brags about how great it was that he put the judges in and overturned Roe versus Wade. 52 years of personal autonomy.
The statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion.
Oh yeah, so that whole abortion thing is a little bit nuanced, guys. That whole Roe versus Wade, that's actually a nuanced type of thing. If you guys look into that, like he said, there's like these post-birth abortions and all this type of stuff are really late term, like 12 months in or whatever, or not 12 months, 9 months in, 8 months in, like just as the baby's about to be born. So, really late, guys, like after 12 weeks. Somebody said before, after 12 weeks, like that is a fully person and that type of stuff, guys. Of course, a few days, a few weeks after, I would definitely be for abortion, right? On that sense, a few, even a few, whatever, a month or so, but a few, 12 weeks after, after 12 weeks, guys, that's, it's a lot, it's very, 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 very late stages after that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one.
That is, I think,
that's not true. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point, that's not it at all.
What was I wrong about, Governor? Please tell me, what was that wrong about?
That is not the way the law is written.
Big debate on that one. So we're going to go into the next one, guys. This is basically the debate on immigration. Now, like I said before, immigration in America is probably its purest form of immigration because they have, historically, black and white civilization with Mexicans, Latins as well. So they have like Latin, they have white people, they have black people, they have Africa, they have a huge melting pot of people in their country. Also, people come to their country for prosperity and for better standards of living. It's not really, to become, it's to become something, to become famous, status, ultra rich. That's why people go to the US, whereas in Ireland, and it seems like in these European countries, Sweden, the EU is like paying like the government for people to come to the country, and people are sleeping on the streets. It's a horrendous form of immigration. Whereas in America, you can legally go there and stuff like that, and people here, it seems like it's just not really like that. So let's hear what they have to say about immigration in their country, because I don't really know too much about immigration in America. It always seemed like they have such a melting pot of people that anyone can go there. What did George Washington say that? One of the founding fathers said that, bring us your people, bring us the masses, and we'll make you rich, whatever. He says it in Wolf of Wall Street as well, bring us your people, and we'll make you rich in status. So it's kind of like this more of like a, getting something from immigrating to their country. Whereas when you immigrate to Ireland, you're not going to become rich like that. We don't have a society like where you become rich in Ireland or become a billionaire or millionaire like in the US, okay? Same economy, same economy, same capitalistic society, but it's not the same economy, okay? It's not that massive 30 trillion a year economy or whatever. So let's hear what they have to say about it, okay?
We're going to turn now to immigration. The crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border consistently ranks as one of the top issues for American voters. Senator Vance, your campaign is pledging to carry out the largest mass deportation plan in American history and to use the U.S. military to do so. Could you be more specific about exactly how this will work? For example, would you deport parents who have entered the U.S. illegally and separate them from any of their children who were born on U.S. soil? You have 2 minutes.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations, we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies. 94 executive...
That's true. I would actually agree with that for sure, guys. Kamala Harris said that she's going to completely undo everything. Joe Biden put a stop to the wall straight away, so there's no real divide to get over to the U.S. It's very, very strange what they have going on there.
borders, suspending deportations, decriminalizing illegal aliens, massively increasing the asylum fraud that exists in our system, that has opened the floodgates. And what it's meant is that a lot of fentanyl is coming into our country. I had a mother who struggled with opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations. And that gets me to your point, Margaret, about what do we actually do? So we've got 25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country. What do we do with them? I think the first thing that we do is we start with the criminal.
25 million illegal aliens. I mean, that's some number, guys. That is an outstanding number. Wow.
Migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some form of crime in addition to crossing the border illegally. I think you start with deportations on those folks. And then I think you make it harder for illegal aliens to undercut the wages of American workers. A lot of people will go home if they can't work for less than minimum wage in our own country. And by the way, that'll be really good for our workers who just want to earn a fair wage for doing a good day's work. And the final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking mules. The real family separation policy in this country is unfortunately Kamala Harris's wide open southern border. And I'd ask my fellow Americans to remember when she came into office, she said she was going to do this. Real leadership would be saying, you know what, I screwed up. We're going to go back to Donald Trump's border policies. I wish that she would do that. It would be good for all of us.
Governor, do you care to respond to any of those specific allegations, including that the vice president is, quote, letting in fentanyl and using kids as drug mules, among other things regarding children?
The drug mule is not true, but I will say about the fentanyl, because this is a crisis of this, the opioid crisis. And the good news on this is the last 12 months saw the largest decrease in opioid deaths in our nation's history, 30% decrease in Ohio, but there's still more work to do. But let's go back to this on immigration. Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of the largest state, a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drug interventions. But look, we all want to solve this. Most of us want to solve this, and that is the United States Congress. That's the Border Patrol agents. That's the Chamber of Commerce. That's most Americans out here. That's why we had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that this nation's seen. It was crafted by a conservative senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford. I know him. He's super conservative, but he's a man of principle, wants to get it done. Democrats and Republicans worked on this piece of legislation. The Border Patrol said, this is what we need in here. These are the experts. And the Chamber of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal said, pass this thing. Kamala Harris helped get there. 1,500 new border agents, detection for drugs, DOJ money to speed up the adjudications on this, just what America wants. But as soon as I was getting ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no, told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue. It gives him what would Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things? And they need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do this through the executive branch. So look, we have the options to do this. Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this. And he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built, and Mexico didn't pay a dime. But here we are again, 9 years after he came down that escalator, dehumanizing people and telling them what he was going to do. As far as the deportation plan, at one point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable. So that's where we're at. Pass the bill, she'll sign it.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, the question was, will you separate parents from their children, even if their kids are U.S. citizens? You have 1 minute.
Margaret, my point is that we already have massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules. And it is a disgrace, and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president again.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, what about our CBS News polling, which does show that a majority of Americans, more than 50%, support mass deportations?
Look, we fixed this issue with a bill that is necessary, but the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this, and Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield. The Republican governor...
Eat the cats, eat the cats, eat the dogs, eat the dogs.
Said, it's not true, don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue. And the consequences in Springfield were the governor had to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to school. I believe Senator Vance wants to solve this, but by standing with Donald Trump and not working together to find a solution, it becomes a talking point. And when it becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
Tim,
Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the question first. The governor has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the purse strings and any funding. So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action.
We're GMIB Insurance.
Hold up a sec, guys. So they're talking about immigration in Springfield, in the north as well. So
solve this.
It's not only the south.
Disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and would need to support many of the changes that you would actually want to implement? You have 1 minute.
Look, Margaret, first of all, the gross majority of what we need to do at the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to the southern border more than our border czar, Kamala Harris, has been, and it's actually heartbreaking because the Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course,
I've seen that multiple times. They just have no power. They have no equipment. They have no nothing. If you guys look up Border Patrol, the south border, it's like a shit show. You guys, it's horrendous. It looks just terrible, bro.
Additional resources would help, but most of this is about the president and the vice president empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels. Now, Governor Walz brought up the community of Springfield, and he's very worried about the things that I've said in Springfield. Look, in Springfield, Ohio, and in communities all across this country...
That's where they talk about eating the cats and dogs, right?
You've got schools that are overwhelmed, you've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You've got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes. The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens.
And the cats and dogs. The people I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, is the cats and dogs, bro.
Who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace, Tim. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't think that Kamala Harris does.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, well, it is law enforcement that asked for the bill. They helped craft it. They're the ones that supported it. That's because they know we need to do this. Look, this issue of continuing to bring this up, of
they
not
just need more money, I think, guys.
Dealing with it, of blaming migrants for everything. On housing, we could talk a little bit about Wall Street speculators buying up housing and making them less affordable.
Oh, I agree with that, guys. It's not just immigrants that buy up housing. It's also people that buy up outsiders, like the Chinese buy up all these massive properties in New York City, hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they launder money through them. It's just wild.
But it becomes a blame. Look, this bill also gives the money necessary to adjudicate. I agree. It should not take 7 years for an asylum claim to be done. This bill gets it done in 90 days.
Crazy.
Then you start to make a difference in this, and you start to adhere to what we know, American principles. Look, I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew 25:40 talks about, to the least amongst us you do unto me. I think that's true of most Americans. They simply want order to it.
The old Democrats have to be more, religious now because all the Republicans are going hella religious.
This bill does it. It's funded. It's supported by the people who do it. And it lets us keep our dignity about how we treat other people.
All right, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Let me know your thoughts on that. Some kind of cool videos. Who do you guys think won the debate? JD Vance or Tim Walz? I love you all. Stay free. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.